Now let's turn to the active equity investing strategy. Active, the purpose for active is to generate alpha, meaning we need to do is to do a better management so that we can generate excess return. So in this case, the most important step is the security selection. How do we select security? Here we're going to do here is to look at two aspects. Are you going to find a good company or you're looking for a good stocks? So this is two different philosophy. We got to be aware of that. If you want to do here is to develop a long-term strategy that you can, all right, beat the market or generate return over a longer period of time, then you should focus on a good company which had the good fundamental factors to the power so they can generate better cash flow. On the other hand, if you want to have a strategy, remember this is the active. So you want to do is that either you want to do, all right, some kind of statistical analysis, or you are doing for different types of the, you know, uh, price movement or volatility analysis, so that you can actually select the security that is able to outperform the market relatively in shorter period of time. Then use this the quantitative approach. So you're looking for good stock. So if you think about these two approaches, then you know that there's some kind of basic differences, the basic differences. So in other words, a good stock may not be a good company, right? Whether the good company will be a good stock, it depending on your time horizon of your investment. Depends on your target of your investment strategies. So what we're going to do here is to see that there's two approaches. One is the selecting a good stock. The other one is selecting a good company. So we classify into seven different categories based on different style, decision making process, source, and information, and analysis focus, the data, and the construction of portfolio. Okay, now style, the most important is a style. Now, if you focus on a long-term fundamental approach, then the style here is relatively is subjective. So it's based on your analytical skill, based on your experience, and you looking for some kind of the information and set you have, and you make a decision to select which company is a good one. Right? So Warren Buffett approach, that is this, is subjective approach. He view, right? This is based on his experience, based on his viewpoint. That is a good suggest a good company to hold for a long term. So basically, you buy and hold. Or the other type is a objective approach, quantitative. So you're using the data or the information, then you plug into type of the model or types like some kind of framework of analysis, but that's subjective. You don't rely on your personal viewpoint, okay, or your subjective analytical result. So, so it is a objective approach when it's subjective approach. So when you make the decision, so this is a style. So when you make a decision, how do you select the stocks? And the fundamental approach is discretionary. Discretionary. So it's really up to you, right? So Warren Buffett view this is good, right? We should hold the apple, all right, and because it's a good company, so we should do that. So it's discretionary, and Well, the other type is quantitative approach. Then you should not do that. For example, um, my portfolio is called the short-term reversal approach. Short-term reversal, because short-term reversal is a clear anomaly or phenomenon that appear in the market caused by human behavioral bias, the behavioral bias. So to do that one, I have to create some kind of rules to select that stocks based on in some kind of benchmark. So I'm using the one of my methods called Charles ratio, and then I can have the selection process to do that one. So the selection is not subjective, it's not discretionary, it's systematic. So regardless what, whether it's a good market, it's a bad market, right? It's uptrend, it's a downtrend. Regardless what, the rule is rules. You can't change it. So this is more quantitative approach. Source, right? The primary sources. For of course, fundamental is based on your skill, your experience, and of course your good judgment there. So it's based on judgment, experience, and skill. That is your source of decision making. However, from the quantitative, because you don't have your judgment there, you don't have a skill there, it's based on your statistical modeling. So you have to rely on that expertise for developing the statistical model, and you got to trust the model. Otherwise, don't use it. Okay, so it's a different approach, different thinking, and those both are active, right? You remember both are active. It's not passive. And another one is information you use, right? Fundamental approach using research information. There are many research reports from the analysts, from the some institution like Moody's, like Value Line, like Morningstar. These are the research outcome that you can see. You based on their result, and you do your own analysis based on different from different company, different industry, and of course the macroeconomic condition. For the quantitative approach, like the child ratio approach, no, it's based on data, purely based on data. Child ratio never rely on other companies' analytical report. It's based on the return and the volatility information from the historical data, and then develop that model. So that's quite different. Right? Now let me jump into the data. Okay, the data, it's very simple to see the differences between the fundamental and the quantitative approach. The, the fundamental is using research data. So they're using the research data and establish the research data usually is based on the view from the analyst. The analyst is looking for the future. So basically the data they're using is a forward looking. The quantitative data, like I say, that using the historical volatility, historical return data, that is a backward looking. So during the exam, you can see what is the differences between fundamental and quantitative. One is forward looking data, the other is backward looking data. It doesn't mean that quantitative approach is backward looking. It's just the data they are using is backward looking. Okay. But the quantitative approach say that even if the data is historical, but had a prediction power because some of the way market is not as efficient as you think, and that efficiency could caused by human behavior biases. It makes sense. It's logically makes sense. Right? Analysis focus. Okay. Now the focus in the fundamental approach in looking at the depth, deep. So it's a depth in the stock, the sector, the industry, and you look at the depth, right? Whether their earning power and their debt ratio, their capacity of borrowing money, and so on. So this is a depth. For the quantitative approach, on the other hand, no, it's just a breadth. All right, so you're looking for the investment population. Like the Chow ratio is selecting 25 stocks out of the Fortune 500 stocks. So you need a 500 as your population. They're able for you to select the one you view had the bias so that you can have to beat the market over time, the 25 stock, but you need to have a large number for the selection base. So you have different focus. One is the depth, the other is must be the breadth. All right. So these are the two differences. So another differences here, finally, is the construction of your portfolio. The construction of your portfolio for the fundamental is based on the judgment. All right, based on judgment. All right, you view that industry from the high tech is the one should outperform, so you make that judgment and you select that. And then you view that we should put more weight in this period of time to the energy sector. You make a judgment. The quantitative approach, no. You do optimization. So it's an optimizer. From the statistical model, you optimize that based on your all right, determined condition of human behavior bias and so on. So it's optimization process. The other one, it does not really look into optimization. It's more like a judgmental approach. All right, so these are the differences here.